If you are interested in forecasting, demand planning, service optimization, demand sensing, that Laura was referring to later on, listen very carefully to our next guest here. Because our next presenter has been responsible for one of the most, as we see it, one of the most innovative projects within demand sensing on this part of the world, anyhow. Considering shaping demand, considering media and promo effects and so forth. Please welcome from Milan, Mr. Alberto Boninsegni.
Decent pronunciation, thanks. Thanks to all, thanks to Richard, thanks to Jan. I'm really happy to share something in the next 30 minutes or so of such a qualified audience. Before starting, I see Laura and I have to make a confession. I start with a confession. I thought, after the speech of Laura, I thought seriously to screw up what I prepared to share with you in the next half an hour and to enter in dialogue with Laura, insight, and since I find it really at the point. I decided not to do so, so be quiet. But from time to time, I will take the freedom to make some reference of what I heard from Laura and what is, to me, inspiring and translating in the actual experience in consumer environment in a fast-moving consumer leaders as Danone is. So, and a couple of things I want to introduce, then I stop. I go with the standard agenda that I prepared. First, this presentation is expected to be about leadership. Then, is expected to make sense for supply chain operational practitioners. This is the first thing. Second, at Danone, we have already faced and overcome the challenge of defining the contribute of the supply chain leaders in the company. Actually, my role, introducing myself, is not anymore a supply chain director or something. I'm an operation director. This is jargon, is terminology, but it's meaning that now, since a couple of years, I'm responsible for my span of responsibility for the COGS management since the purchasing, raw material, direct material, to the cash collecting to our customers. A single organization responsible for managing COGS and COGS evolution. And the second thing, and at Danone, we have already solved the tricky part of becoming a practitioner and professional in such a complex, jargon-driven environment like supply chain used to be. I have more than 20, honestly, years of experience as a business consultancy, as a business consultant and as a practitioner in supply chain and operation manufacturing environment. And I dealt with complex things, complex acronyms, complex stuff, complex KPIs, plenty of dashboard. I'm stuck with that. I'm against complexity. I love simplicity. At Danone, we struggle with complexity, but we embrace simplicity. And believe me, simplicity, meaning something that most of the people can understand, is the ultimate sophistication. It is not my quote, it's the Leonardo da Vinci quote. I love it much. Last things before entering, financial KPIs are the only KPIs that enable yourself to make a stand as a business leader in a company expected to be profitable. If you're not happy with that, I'm sorry. If you're not in command of that, I'm too sorry. It's the way it is. Accept, refuse. But not complain if The rest of the company doesn't understand you since you are expressing yourself in strange jargon. It's you, it's not them, okay? Then starting the standard presentation. 30 minutes, I will introduce rapidly on Danone. I think that most of you know what Danone is about. I use the majority of these minutes in make you understanding what Danone challenge faces in the market of Italy, in which I'm responsible for, in which the case is built. Take as a reference, Danone used to be a significantly decentralized company. Danone doesn't embrace recently the commodization, the globalization. The business is a local stuff, traditionally for Danone. Customers are UK, are very different from customers in Italy. The landscape, even in the European countries, in the Euro umbrella, is far different to be treated as a single entity. This is the heritage of Danone. I tell you, something is changing as well in Danone. We recognize today that we need to reach the scale of a big company like Danone, European-wise. But we want to keep it the ability to develop solutions that works in the very context in which they are required to work. So I will spend more time for the Italy challenge in the Danone dairy business. And then we will move in a couple of 2 steps, basically, enabled by also a technology solution, but mostly shaped by the changed business environment that requires business leaders, as we pretend to be in supply chain and now in operation, are required to cope with. And some conclusion and maybe some questions to wrap up. Les métiers chez Danone. Danone, 4 business units. It's a company about 20 billion euros worldwide, a presence of over 50 countries, about 100,000 people, the Danoners. You see, by breakdown of les métiers, the dairy division is half of the size of the company, as is number 1 worldwide, approximately in each market is this kind of ranking. Early nutrition, since 2008, is the 2nd division. So then we will spend a few minutes about the brands. Danone is a branded company, so maybe you are more familiar with the brand of Danone than Danone itself. The early nutrition provided solution for the requirements of nutrition up to 36 months. So your child are our customers in that. The heritage of Danone, the waters, the brands are most generally known is Evian, Badois, Aqua, but Evian is where all started. And the last one, maybe the less recognizable within the Danone know-how, is the medical nutrition, is the last comers, but fast growing, and is about providing food solution for people with deficiencies or allergies or with some specific problems. So the customers are here more hospital than off-shelf consumers. Brand, moving, oh, sorry. No. But I did the oldest way, if it's working. Page, okay. Dairy division, the case is based on the dairy division. The brands are Activia, Actimel, Danonino, Danio, Oikos. We are talking about yogurt and fermented milk. So perishable, obsolescence, these are the kind of challenge that in operation we have to manage as far as we were talking about dairy. Infant nutrition is a mixed situation. perishable for a small portion, but the majority of the issues are related to the inventory and the velocity to turn inventory into cash, as well as for waters. And for the medical nutrition, I think it's very interesting since those guys of this division, they are developing the most sophisticated within Danone approach to reach the new channels. I'm talking about business to consumer channels through e-commerce. You can deliver such a product, high value product, directly to your home. So we have a quite different scenario in which operations is required to manage different challenges. Given this picture, I stop with the Danone picture, entering a bit in the Italy market. The rest that we will see is about the implementation and the transition toward the new challenges that we find out in the dairy Italian markets. In dairy, normally in any business, Danone wants to be the leader or the co-leader. It's the same situation in Italy. We are the leader in the dairy market in Italy. But I entering with what characterize, there are many things. It's a market of Italians, so there are many things that characterize the market. But the most important thing is starting from consumer. The consumer per capita in Italy is very low in comparison with the consumer per capita of dairy, yogurts, basically, products in Netherlands, in France, and Spain. We are talking about 7 kilos per year. Conclusion, we have a big opportunity to expand the demand from one side, but on the other side, we have to cope with the need to act as a category leader, since Italians, they are Italians, they think that they have more options than yogurt when they are hungry. And this is understandable. So you have to convince Italians that despite pizza, spaghetti, whatever, also yogurt is an important ingredient that you have had in your daily diets. Okay? Apart from joking, we are in dairy Italian division in a context of demand creation. We have to create the demand. The baseline is not existing. I'm joking, I'm simplifying, but basically we cannot rely on a fast-growing baseline if you are not soliciting consumer, I will say, old ways, investing in media, which is the first engine to make our role of category leaders, to make the market grow, and Danone as a market leaders to grow as well. And the second engine is the promo investments. So the trade investments, the money that we spend in order to cut price or make special packs or presenting our products in most attractive way to our consumers on a daily basis, or about 20,000 different stores in the modern trade. We are not the biggest company in fast-moving consumer goods in Italy, but we are one of the major spenders in media in the Italian market. And believe me, despite the Berlusconi fall down, the media market in Italy is extremely expensive. If you buy media, you have to invest huge sum of money. To give you an idea, traditionally about 20% of our turnover is invested between media and promo. So it's a huge sum of money in which we as leaders, as operational leaders, are required to support the company in order to extract value and productivity. And for promo investments, maybe you heard, even in Nordics, that there is a recession elsewhere since 2007, 2008. I hope that, as Laura said, once you escape from the recession, things turn worse, operationally wise. We are still in the middle of the recessions in Italy. And as a result of this recession, the promo investment has dramatically grown, and the competition between the different producers is becoming, let's say, a kind of red ocean scenario in which we are competing with the risk of diluting the value that we bring to our consumer. Cut pricing, very aggressive, new type of promotion, more and more attracting customer, bog-offs, stuff like this. And today, in the dairy market of Italy, we sold around 4 to 5 pots of yogurt out of the 10 in promo. So it's about half of the market is made by promo. Without promo, it's an assumption, but we can say the market is shrinking in volumes 30–40%. So we are addicted from one side, and we want to escape from this vicious cycle, but on the other side, if we cannot compete, we are out. This is the kind of context that makes the first step of our project. We call it the project Discover. And the project has been enabled by a solution provided by a provider which is actually present here, is the Tools Group company, and the suite is SO99+. I will not go into detail from the technology side of the project, not because I'm not in the command, but I leave you my email and reference in the presentation. If you have any technical, detailed, as you are used to, questions, I'm really happy to answer remotely to any questions on these regards. I still believe it that mastering the detailed technical aspect of the profession is, let's say, a milestone in order to become perceived elsewhere a business leader. It's not the opposite. What we're looking for, first things, we are still a multinational. Any multinational, we have dogma, we have religions. And one religion was that we have SAP, S-N-I-P, with a lot of respect. With the SAP and we APS, the APO, which is the suite APS for SAP. Okay, first things as leaders, we have to recognize that we are getting lost with this stuff. We cannot really improve our impact in the business relying on the relating database and the transactional system that ran the disk, and it took 5 hours to recycle the information that are highly dynamic. There has been a battle with the group. We did it silently. So we said, yes, we have Apple, but we are developing something else. Okay? And we did so. What we are looking for, we started in the project in 2011, once the first wave of recession came, and and to Laura was very easy, also for the credibility of the function at the time, having the attention of the board of the other directions and the funding for making the payback is very robust. We are talking about months. But it's not a matter of spend years of debating the ROI, okay? It's a well-understood need. You have a vision, you have a story, a compelling story to sell to your colleagues, and their colleagues will understand. You are helping them. So basically, huge number of transactions to be controlled, and we're still a multinational. We don't rely on dozens of highly skilled demand planners. We have also pressure in the overhead. So if we are not able to find out a solution that could work, low human touch, we are out. And this was kind of requirement, the needs that we are looking for a solution that could support this evolutionary view of our trade promotion systems. Highly frequency control is another important features. Promo, sales, and the flows of data are dramatically increasing the velocity and the rescheduling. You cannot rely in a monthly process anymore if you want to be accurate. Changes are part of life. You can claim it, you can blame it, but you cannot escape it. You have to manage. And so having the ability to highly frequency recheck without too many effort in doing that is a fundamental feature that we cannot be so satisfied by the S.p.A, and we were looking some different supports. Quick response to market changes. A point that is important in order to see possible evolution. We are talking about demand signal. Yes, we are still relying for the majority of our business intelligence system and out of transactional system in transaction like customer orders. Yes, we are still in an environment in which we make product to stock to forecast. Yes, we have to anticipate our demand for our product through predictive, historical, statistic-based systems. Yes, we are still in this context. But we are getting and grasping additional source of unstructured or different structured data like syndicate data for the category, information about the leaflets of the competitors that are published and that can be included in the algorithm in order to consider whether your expected uplift from the single event is going to be affected by what your competitor is doing the same time in the same store. So we are looking for a solution that could be open to different sources of data that progressively are becoming available and more available in the future. And the last thing, of course, I said before, we are in a context in which we shape the demand. Without having the ability to project clearly the part, from technical standpoint, the decomposition of demand, let's say the sales event and the media event, must be well mastered by the new system, since they represent 45% of the overall prediction and forecast that we are looking for. Without it, forecast accuracy is a chimera, is impossible. Something was present in the solution that we finally decided to go with. Something was expected to evolving from time to time. I did before. This is very nice chart, but the and I'm happy to show the nice chart. So I will show the chart. But I will say, apart from the system, let's stick with what is important. So it's very simple at the end. Then I will tell you what makes turn a simple thing a bit more complex for a human beings. The simple thing is that, yes, you have quite an idea of your volume demand, and by depolluting your demand by the events, you have an idea of what is the famous baseline. For the ones which have a business in fast-moving consumer goods, it's all matter with baseline, which is the baseline. What I'm going to sell without any ads, without any promos. Once you find out the baseline, or you have historically defined the baseline, of course, you have as well to consider each, in this case, sales event, but for the media events is the same. You have to identify, let's say, the distinctive contribution of each event that shape differently the demand on top of the baseline. And, of course, you have in the past this sample of promo with this specific customer, with these specific stores, and you take it as a reference to predict what is going to be your demand created by events if the similar event of the same event is going to be replicated in the future. This is the basic. So it's very simple. It's very simple, but what makes a bit less simple or more tough for a single human being is the volumes of these numbers and the dynamics on what this number evolves. We are talking about 15,000 sales events on a yearly basis of about 350 different countries in 20,000 stores in the motor trend in our context. And the dynamics and the different price and the different tactics of the promo are getting far sophisticated. And to make it even more complex, customers are changing. There is a consolidation trend. So what was Carrefour today is going to be Auchan, and is going to change again a statistical, historical view of your past. So we cannot manage with the 3 demand planners without a machine that understands this pattern of data, that compare the similar pattern of data with some parameters and project for us in the future these patterns, having as an input the promo calendar that we grasp from the sales team. It's all about this. Fancy chart, but at the end of the day, we rebuild, relying on the system that in the short term is redefine the pattern of the uplift of the promo, and we inflate the baseline managed by demand planner by these single events in order to build up the final demand planner. And we did it on a weekly basis on the magnitude of data that I depicted before. It's all about that. It's all about that, but the most important thing is, okay, the machine learning, the rule-X optimization is working for us, but without having a close coupling on what we are doing from the financial objectives to the sales execution, we are in the middle of nowhere. So the most important thing is to couple the solution and the role of operation, which is seen by each other as, let's say, the independent agent that make this possible, but we have to rely, and not only to rely, to make them accountable for what is becoming before and after the exercise that we run in the demand planning team. So basically, the full company, based on the uplift, quantitative uplift, we are talking about kilos, tons of uplift. These tons has to be translated by the finances parameter in value, money, talking about margin by each event. And if rolling up this number of events, we are not getting our number done, we have to rerun the exercise before entering in the plan for the next quarter. But the fundamental thing is that all the company starts with a close couple of figures that came from a robust, I would say, operational system and have been added as an attribute by financial insight, by financial data, and take in the front end the responsibility for all the sales reps to declare and to plan their own investments and to optimize their own investments with the same ROI concept that is built on the uplift calculated by the system and translated by financial parameters is money. You see the traffic lights here. This is a kind of figures, but actually each sales rep, once entering or think to enter a promotion within his own budget, which is consistent with the overall budget for the promo spending, is told by the system whether this promo, with these techniques, with these dynamics, with this phasing, with this customer, is going to be volume positive, margin positive, turnover positive, or the sum of it all positive. And you have to decide whether it's going to be rerun the exercise to optimize the profile, financial profile of each event, since if we go to deliver this event, we are not able to make any money out of it. This is the core of the Discover solution. And of course, it implies a strong commitment for all the others, talking about my colleagues, in order to rely on these systems. These systems is actually driven the way we spend our money, and I told you before, we are talking about 20% of the money that now consists of our turnover. So millions, we are talking about 40, 70 millions of euros on a yearly basis that are going to be optimized through the system. And if you are able to do that, we can cope in the recession scenario, making still some money and maintaining the profitability of the company, or for other brands that require development, we can, let's say, skip a bit to milking the brand, but to give oxygen to the brand and to make it grow, to to come to the size and the scale that is needed in order to be optimized later. So at the end of the day, if you believe it, that supply chain is about of the cost that are involved with carrying your product to customer, you are in a different page. To me, supply chain operation execution is the translation of the strategic intent of the company on a daily basis, translated in thousands, hundreds of transactions that involves suppliers and customers. If you make this definition simply understood by your colleagues at the board, your life is going to be different. Results, and then I will go rapidly since it's not forever. This has been the result that we can face it 2011, 2012. Back to Laura insight of this year. We are pretty happy of the evolution at Danone Italy of our COGS evolution on a 4 years row, which is my tenure. But we have also to adapt to the conditions that are changing more rapidly than our project, than our brain as well. So the traditional supply chain KPI is an heritage of Danone Dairy Italy. Nobody is blaming about service level. Service level is all-time high in a row of 48 months. So it's a given today. We are not, and the quality of the planning that make our factory efficient is a given, I would say. Is a given that requires a huge efforts. But we are not making difference in simply delivering a decent production planning to make our factory run efficiently. We are doing that since 4 years. So has been a quantum leap, incremental, but sustainable. The supply chain KPIs are still the same in 2014 and getting better. Once you have 99.8 service level, you can still reach 100, but you see the level of opportunity is small. Most interestingly, when you are talking about make a business leader contribute to the steering of the company, net uplift and net ROI after the implementation of the project moved toward the right direction. So get improved, and it's a matter of millions of euros. More euros that I can grab and make my industrial process more efficient, believe me. There are more money there than in my plant. My plant represents 7% of the cost of goods, 7 to 8%. And my supply chain represents 4% of my cost of goods. Trade investment represent 25%, and prom investment, and together with the media investments. Materials is the rest of. Hope that is makes any sense, that you are partially with me. You understand what I'm trying to deliver. But the last thing, and we'll take, let's say, the rest 10 minutes, is, okay, we are happy, Discover works, everybody is happy, it's done. Let's move to something else. It's not that simple. It's not that simple. Why? Because we are in the deepest recession ever. Ever. This is the situation, at least in the southern Euro countries. I can choose any statistic, demographic, whatever. The consumer index is 2013, but 2014 is not getting improved. We are at time in terms of consumer pattern where we were 25 years ago. And there's no sign today of significant improvement. I'm talking about Italy, Spain, and maybe France is the next one. So Europe is stagnant. The continental Europe, at least, is stagnant. And deflation is coming. The prices are down, the volumes are down, the margins are down. Energy are down, interest are down, shares are down. So this is kind of direction of everything down. I don't know where. today is the down day. So, analogy. Okay, Discover, quite successful. I made my career by Discover. I have been in London talking about Discover. I'm proud of it. But as a business leader, I have to recognize that something in the new context that is exacerbating our difficulties is not done forever. What is missing? I'm looking what is missing. I'm a trainer of my team. I'm interested in the performance and the goal. I celebrated it, but I'm obsessed with what is missing. 3 things are missing today in the current solution. In the mid-term horizon, and we need a more long-term horizon in order to anticipate what is going on, since reliability is a matter of life. It's not a matter of being promoted. It's a matter of life. We are monitored as southern countries each day. We have receiving tons of questions about a discrepancy of 0.2% of the sales of Danone last Monday. Okay? Reliability is fundamental to be reliable and to make worth of the confidence that the people take in you. And we have to improve the mid-term horizon. The system, the Rulex optimization, the tool solution works well within 60, 80 days range. On top of that, we have a collapse of forecast accuracy, and we need it to maintain quarter by quarter a predictability. No surprise environment is fundamental in down environment that I depicted before. Second, sales guys are clever. They are looking for making different deals, and the sales terms is changing the ROI of each event if it's going to be changed. So what was worth of a positive ROI yesterday, due to the fact that my sales guys give more money to the customer in a different way, is now negative actually. So if we do more of that, presuming that is positive in ROI, we are losing money each day. And we have to recognize that the sales terms have been changed in this kind of 4 years of recessions. And including as well any embedding in the sales terms also the total cost to serve that makes a customer in Sicily different in profitability versus a customer close to Milan. It's very different. And it makes what is make us earning money or losing money. So we have to keep it in mind. Last things, yes, retailers, the performance are poor. Somebody is a loser, and the loser are losing ground. So Esselunga, for the ones that you know, or Carrefour is the loser from the other side. The market shape is not as it was with our 3 years of history of markets, and we cannot rely anymore in a description of the market that it was 3 years ago. Since the dynamics of market, about 1,500 stores are changing property on a yearly basis, out of the 20,000, so it's huge. And a new acronymus, since I'm still a supply chain guys, I love acronymus. And the new acronymus is PRGM, Profitably Revenue Growth Management. Still relying on our tools group platform, but is what we are doing today. For promo accuracy, of course, I will not depict the full solution, but at the end of the day, what I want to deliver to you is that we have 3 areas of make our current system enhanced, improved, or changed. And I will spend 2 minutes up to the conclusion to make it understanding why. In the context that I depicted, the revenue management is what makes the difference. This is kind of evolution that is expected by our leaders. We are not anymore interested in developing volumes that have no money attached. So we use the optimization of price promos investment. I'm telling you, also the price is going to be a sensitive data that we have to integrate once we calculate our uplift. Is going to be upsized by a tight management of the revenue, and namely the trade promotion. So I skipped it, the top of the pyramid. So the strategic design has been done by the famous consultancy. We have McKinsey on board. And McKinsey deliver a tight analysis in how we have to rebuild the promo budget and how we have to cope with the promo effectiveness at the lowest level of details. So there is a corporate project. Now we are leading with UK, France, and Poland in the RPGM religion. And all the project has been enabled by an analysis and diagnosis done by this famous consultancy. Yes, we changed as well the way we calculated the ROI. We reconsidered the ROI because I told you the fixed cost investment that our sales rep introduced recently make the ROI less accurate. So we are losing money while we are still convinced that the ROI was positive, and we have to rebuild in that. My role is today to build the infrastructure that makes reality, in reality, the new promo strategy and the new ROI calculation. Without this basis of the pyramids, the rest is cheating. And we are the ones, as the heart of the company, they have to build the infrastructure to make these clever ideas working on a daily basis. What does it mean? It means that we are looking for today, the project is going to release the first release in October, and the 2015 promo plan will be built within this concept of PRGM. So we are really in the very momentum. 3 main objectives. We have to improve the midterm promo forecast accuracy. Midterm meaning 6 months. Our promo for 6 months must be as reliable as it is today within 60, 90 days. So we have to double the horizon of our promos. Second, we have to provide stable and accurate ROI by event. Stable meaning that since the baseline, since the uplift is really sensitive, a significant changes on this baseline for this event is unmanageable by the sales reps. They cannot understand why this event was worth to do yesterday and today not anymore, because somebody in the market had decided to invest even more money in ads. We have to take the responsibility to make balances, trade-offs, also managerial trade-off. We cannot reach 100% exact solution. We prefer to have roughly right decision-making process. And we need more stable than accurate ROI within the cycle. And last, assure that S&OP that we consider to have in place quite advanced, and the new process and the new organization of PRGMI, which is led by sales and finance, are tightly integrated. We don't want to have a different interpretation of baseline that is coming from the PGM team versus my demand planner that relying and are building the S&P figures. This is a fundamental. By technology, we will complement, and I skip it, the details, but if you are interested, we are talking about a module, additional module that will shape an updated market modeling, enabling a more robust decomposition by customers of our demand within the suite of tools group. Second, we entering in the midterm with a new module that decouple a bit the optimizer that is still working in the short term, but rely more in a drill down process driven by demand planning once by brand and by customers the baseline is defined. This is the DGA as the acronyms of the tools group guys, and we have to implement it. And this will be the solution that will enable the integration between S&OP and PRGM. They will discuss around this web-based solution together. same figures, same template, different responsibility, different views. Last, we have also to make our medium-term algorithm calculation by uplift different. So we will have a short-term algorithm and a medium-term algorithm. They are dialoguing together, but are exactly the same. We want more stability in order to enable the salespeople to understand the powerful tool that we provided them with. The majority of the other things are related with organization, people, competencies, talents. We selected for lead the PRGM team what is expected to be a high-ranked talent within the company, irrespective the function of provenience. He came incidentally from finance, but we prefer to have high-quality people than a 100% accurate background for the position. The position is barely new. We have to build the position. We have to describe the job. The job doesn't exist, was not existing before. And we are making this within the responsibility matrix, of course, in making all the people understanding what is going on. And then KPIs has been defined upfront. But more than KPIs, what is coming out of the KPIs discrepancy? So the process of adapting and improving out of this. This PRGM, to get to conclusion, to me, it's a kind of second wave. But a second wave that, please remember, once I'm talking about supply chain performance, they are stable, improving, since 5 years within this environment. We are looking at other areas of value added. Say differently, you cannot be credible as a business leader if your delivery time is out of control, if your costs are increasingly. You have to have the command of it in order to be, let's say, eligible to get the attention that you needed if you want to perform at the center of the execution of the strategy of the company. So if you are still struggling with production planning, focus on that before moving forward. This is a practitioner suggestions. Discover. We did a step change in demand shaping. We found it. We built, let's say, the foundation of our S&OP, actually. But still, in terms of time span, was short-term oriented. Well working. We can imagine now huge number of data that we cannot before, thanks to get rid of APO stuff. What we want through the True Blue, which is the new label of the second wave of the project, we want the PRGM attitude and result are tightly embedded in the S&OP process. We founded not only the operational execution, but the execution of the strategy of the company on the True Blue system, and we are looking for a medium-term orientations. I'm sure that is not going to last, but I cannot now even depict or anticipate what is going the next, depending of the market challenges that we will face it. And this is the last, to me. Understand out of your huge expertise. You are expected, as I am expected, the guys that on a daily basis, you cope with the most complex problems. You are, let's say, trained to work with trade-offs decision on the daily basis. You are eligible to take a different level of challenges in terms of the relevance of the problem you cope with. I think that you are well designed to do that. It's simply to embrace this opportunity in the tough environment of business today. And this is my last message. I did it. I did
Alberto, it's totally okay. Any questions to this passionate Italian guy here? Yes, please.
German
You are in Italian, I know.
Concerning the change management that you have to face, given that also the like a traditional Salesforce.
I think yes, it's an effort. I want to be provocative.
Please.
I don't believe it anymore in change management. I changed the managers, and we did it. We did it. My sales counterpart today, it's a very open guys, have different expertise, is curious, is interested to understand if we can bring them the value. And as far as he's seeing value, he is the most which is asking me to deliver more. The relationship is still confronting. I will not depict the paradise, this is not. But we are speaking the same languages. And the business objectives are the same for us. There is no room for, let's say, tactics or power deals, say it this way. But we changed the managers. It was a positive evolution to make it everything. So he has been promoted the last.
Any other questions? Yes, please.
Jeff Bodenstaff, I'm not Italian.
Yeah, I see.
I'm with Tools Group. A question about the challenges you faced in the promo environment. You mentioned, if I understood correctly, complexity, 15,000 promotion events per year, and spend, more than 20% spend. And I was curious, I was talking to another company using the machine learning, a consumer goods company recently, and they mentioned another challenge. And I asked, what's the impact of your promotions? Is it 15%, 10%? And of course they laughed at me very loudly, but they said no, sometimes they have promotions that can increase in that particular area as much as 10 or 20 times the sales, which adds to the complexity and challenges. Do you have the same challenges?
It's pretty the same with the, let's say, the additional challenges that we are imperishable. So if we are not able to manage this span of magnitude by events in terms of volumes, still talking about volumes, you can imagine how much is going to be difficult to manage the manufacturing environment and the distribution environment. To be precise on that, we have some SKUs, since it's a matter of details, we are operational guys. From some SKUs, the lift, the volume lift is about 300/400%. For other SKUs, the lift is about 20-25%, but is not the target, so we want to increase the lift. So we want to make the supply chain guys more concerned. We want promo effectiveness.
Any other questions? No. Alberto is here for lunch. Please talk to him and be inspired by him. Thank you so much, Alberto.
Thank you for your patience.
Thank you.